Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in pints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and back with me after his paternity leave is Frank. How are you today?
Hey, I'm back. Frank's a dad, and now he's a podcasting dad.
Frank's back. He's a podcasting dad. Welcome back, Dad. How are you?
Thanks, man. It's good to be back. It is good to be back. I am the proud father of an adorable little girl, and she is happy and healthy, and she's about 2 months old as we record this. Thanks, Tim, for holding down the fort while I was gone with so many great guests, and the last stretch of episodes with you and Mary have been a special treat. And but it's good to be back. It's good to be back in the saddle and sipping a beer and talking to my bud.
No, well, I'm glad that obviously I'm glad that you're back because I love talking to you. This is Beer with Geeks as much as I love my wife and all of our other guests who did a great job. It's not the same without you, bud. So I am. Two sides to different coins. You know, that's us.
Well, yeah. It's good to be back. It's good to be the Two-Face to your Harvey Dent.
There you go. I'm glad I'm the good one.
Yeah, that was intentional.
Okay, yeah. I don't dislike that at all.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be the good one in this relationship.
You're definitely
Hooray.
the good one.
Now Zoidberg is the popular one.
Good news, everyone.
Ooh. Okay, so Frank, do you have a special beer for us now since you're back and stuff?
I do, yeah. Well, special beer, I don't know about that, but I've been working my way through a Sam Adams Summer Pack, and I am really enjoying this tropical wheat ale. That is it's a really nice spin on a wheat ale, like a Blue Moon or something. But it's got a little bit of mango and guava in the mix as well to give it that tropical feeling. So yeah, it's really nice. I've been enjoying these. It's a refreshing, like instead of that citrusy taste that you get with a wheat ale like a Blue Moon, this has the mango and the guava, which gives it just a different flavor profile, which I really enjoy.
Nice. I did what I would consider to be the most dad thing, and I went to the fridge and I was like, we have beer. We don't have beer. Totally out.
Oh, Dad.
I'm like, don't have time to go to the store. So I am drinking a Polar Seltzer, Frank, because which feels so lame. I'm sorry. It's your triumphant return to Beer with Geeks. And does your podcasting partner have a beer? No, he does not. And did he think to get a hard alcohol instead, which he does have in the house? No, he did not. And so here I am, just drinking a seltzer like a schmuck. But anyway, it's the pink apple and lemon one, and it's pretty good. Nice.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. What flavor?
Yeah, that was me because I have a soundboard.
That was you.
Yeah.
This show just got a whole lot more like Morning Zoo with the two of us in our soundboard.
I know. You think it's almost like PowerPoint in the 90s where you can I can spin?
Whoa, look at all the transitions I can do. Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, hooray.
Well, that's all right. It's beers with dad, drinks with dads. Not even.
The soundboard is like a built-in dad joke.
Oh
like,
my gosh, it totally is. Yeah, it's an
all
audio dad joke.
This audio dad joke. We're just ready for it all the time.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right.
The downside is that
Seltzer?
I can't filter your voice with my soundboard because we're
true.
recording online. I can only do my own, so it's not the same exactly. But to answer your question, I'm drinking a pink apple and lemon seltzer.
Pink apple and lemon. Ooh, that does sound actually rather delightful.
It's very good. It's definitely heavy on the pink apple side of things. It's not super lemony, but it actually does taste like a pink apple, which is wild. Not all like artificial flavors taste like the thing.
Sure.
Like, I'm sorry, grape doesn't taste like grape. Like, it's not even close.
No, not even close. No. And honestly, half the time strawberry doesn't either.
No, it does not. No, but, Polar Seltzer, it's good. It's good stuff,
That's great. Well, they use the real fruit essence, don't they?
They do. That's what they say anyway.
Yeah.
Polar says lots of things.
They do
like,
say a lot of things.
We love the environment. Polar,
Sure, they say lots of things.
Still bottling all that water in a major drought, are you, Polar?
Yeah,
So I bet you love the environment. Anyway, Frank, you and I are here together.
We are.
We're both dads.
Yes,
and so I thought this could be a dad-centric themed episode just for you. And for me, obviously, but what I've done is I've assembled what as many would consider some of the best dads in pop culture from the 90s to the present day, and not best dads like I would say like super funny, just super funny,
sure,
or I'm trying to think of a good example. Maybe some of them are super funny. So maybe my example of what I was going for is nice. But like you could pinpoint to some really solid dad content, whether it's in the dad joke or the personality that reminds you of your own dad, or just some really good fatherly wisdom.
Yeah, sure. Good role model and yes, imparting that wisdom to their kid. Somebody you want to look up to. Or I guess the good dad joking as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think all these things kind of combine to make what could be the best dad, right? So fatherly wisdom, a good dad joke every now and again. Maybe getting into hijinks, but solving it. Like, I think that's kind of a dad. That's kind of a dad thing.
Sure.
And so anyway, so I have 24 dads here. 24 dads, and we're going to decide who is the best dad in this bracket that I have made in Google Sheets, because we're super, super cool people.
Super cool people.
Mm-hmm.
Cool dads.
So the following dads will be participating. Here we go.
Okay.
Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I know what you're thinking, Uncle Phil. But you know what? He's the dad to the other people in the show. And
that's right.
Let's be honest. He's Will's dad.
And he's America's dad.
He's America's dad. Speaking of America's dad, Alan Matthews from Boy Meets World, Carl Winslow from Family Matters, Jonathan Kent from Smallville. I was very specific here.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of Jonathan Kents out there, but I thought, let's go with the TV movie thing. Maurice from Beauty and the Beast, Danny Tanner, Full House, Homer Simpson, The Simpsons, Bob Belcher, Bob's Burgers, Mufasa, The Lion King, Marlin, Finding Nemo, Din Djarin, The Mandalorian, Ned Stark, Game of Thrones, Bob Parr / Mr. Incredible from The Incredibles, Arthur Weasley from Harry Potter, Joseph Cooper from Interstellar, Brian Mills from Taken, Scott Calvin, the Santa Claus, George Banks, Father of the Bride, Daniel Hillard, Mrs. Doubtfire, Tim Taylor, Home Improvement. I just realized that Tim Allen is on here twice.
I was just going to say
that was not intentional. Daniel, which is Liam Neeson from Love Actually, Martin Crane from Frasier, Howard Cunningham from Happy Days, and Uncle Ben Parker from Spider-Man.
Nice.
And let's be specific here. Let's say Tobey Maguire, 2002 Uncle Ben.
That was my first follow-up question.
Yeah, well, we can't do MCU Uncle Ben. So
right. Well, yes, yeah. True. But we could have done
Martin Sheen. Could have done a cartoon. But let's go with Cliff Robertson.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Classic Uncle Ben.
Okay,
so
that
also
sounds good
not
to me.
Uncle Ben's rice, just to be clear.
Yes, no.
A bag of rice is not a father.
Nope.
So
and it's Ben's original now, just to be,
Oh, is it? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's not Uncle Ben anymore.
Okay.
By the way, so wait, Daniel from Love Actually and Brian Mills from Taken. So we've got Liam Neeson on here twice too.
I do have Liam Neeson on here twice. Also not intentional. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. But it's exciting. Exactly. Yeah.
Are they seated next to one another at any point?
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Let's do this. I am ready. I'm ready to talk some dads. I have a baby spit up stain on my shirt to prove it, and let's go. Yeah, you got one too?
Me too.
Great. Cool. Let's do
so
it.
Cool, Frank.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air versus Alan Matthews from Boy Meets World. I have very strong feelings about this, and I truly believe it is Alan Matthews.
Okay. I did not watch much of either of these shows as a kid. I have watched more as an adult, but like just the odd episode here and there when they're on TV. So I don't have a super strong attachment to either one.
Okay. So this is not the diminished Uncle Phil, who is an excellent dad. There's some like solid dad content, like son, listen to me, fighting for his family style. He obviously provides well for them.
Yes.
And everything. There's some really good stuff. But Alan Matthews, so my wife and I are like slowly going back and watching Boy Meets World again. We're big fans of the show.
You guys did a great episode about that a few weeks back.
Thank you. And so watching as an adult, like watching Boy Meets World as a kid, you like even pretty much anything, before being a parent, you watch the kids and what hijinks they're getting up to. And then all of a sudden you're watching the parents and their parenting style.
Totally.
And like, what would you do and everything? And he is an effortless, amazing father. Like, like in line with mom, like the rules are the rules, but he knows when to bend them. He knows when to like offer his support, when to be stern, when not to be, when to have fun, when not to, like, it's just like really, really good. And none of it's cheesy. And I think that's the difference. What I love is that like a lot of it feels natural in a way, especially in the early Boy Meets World, in which a way that Fresh Prince is never natural. It's not part of the style of the show.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But and Boy Meets World certainly gets there, but Alan is like, even as a kid, I was like, this dude is a good dad. Like I would be his kid.
Sure.
And that's how I just feel about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, clearly you feel very strongly about it. Yeah. I feel like, you feel strongly about it. Let's go with Alan Matthews. I don't disagree. And Boy Meets World is obviously something that you care very deeply about. So I will go with you.
Strong feelings. So that's good.
Yeah.
One that you probably do have strong feelings on, and we can do this right. Carl Winslow from Family Matters versus Jonathan Kent from Smallville, whom I almost left off this list because I felt was an unfair advantage to whatever he was.
Because he's pretty much going to win no matter who he is
up against. Yeah, like freaking.
Well, let's give respect where due for Carl Winslow, because Carl Winslow could absolutely. If he weren't paired up against Jonathan Kent, he wouldn't be at such a disadvantage. Carl Winslow is an excellent TV dad who I loved as a kid.
Oh, I didn't. Did you watch Family Matters as a kid? I didn't know that.
Yeah, not like regularly, but like who didn't catch some TGIF?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I loved Family Matters when I was a kid. Yeah,
it's a great show. It was one that I didn't watch like religiously, but I loved it when it was on. And Carl Winslow was such a great like. Balance between, he could be that earnest, great advice giving dad, but he could also be like funny, silly, the butt of the joke, but not in a like disrespectful way. Like he was still like a respected. It wasn't one of those like dad's a bozo type of butt of the joke, but like
sure,
he could. Be poked fun at in a fun way, but still be like the backbone for his kids and be there for them, and for other characters in the show. So I love Carl Winslow. So that's not to diminish him in any way.
I think all that's fair. And here, my counter argument, which I can't believe I'm the one counter arguing for Jonathan Kent and not you.
Well,
but
I'm not arguing against Jonathan Kent.
I know. But like, I agree everything with what you said for Carl Winslow. But Jonathan Kent does what I think is a near impossible job in raising not only an adopted son but an alien.
Yeah,
and with and raising him with strong, intrinsically good morals and values.
That's right.
That he then carries with him past, like the son like the father lives through the son while carrying through with like his ambitions and goals and goodness for the world.
Yeah,
and so like that in of itself is kind of a huge cap and a win. He does have flaws, obviously. He does, as many of them do. Like he just like, this is the line in the sand. You will not go past it by any point, and sometimes that is really what gets Jonathan into trouble.
It is.
Most of the time. Yeah.
And honestly, it is, his undoing was his desire to protect his son, right? Like he was willing to go to any cost, even the cost of his own life, to protect his son. So like there's no more ultimate sacrifice than that. But along the way, he was such a like that trusted advisor, that rock that Clark could always count on. He was a great partner to Martha Kent. He was a great all around example, and he was the one guy that could that was stronger than Superman in a sense, where he was the guy who could make Superman stop. Like
that's a really good point.
He's the one guy who could do that. And so that's a pretty remarkable thing. So just the years and years of Jonathan Kent, of John Schneider as Jonathan Kent, being like a dad figure to so many, like he was the ultimate. You mentioned before, like, I'd be happy to have him as a dad. Like Jonathan Kent is like, to me, the like one of the best examples of that in TV, where like you would love to. I have a great dad. I love my dad. Always had a great relationship with my dad. He is like I think my dad is the best dad, obviously. But like Jonathan Kent was like the one TV dad that I was like, that's if I was gonna say like I would love that guy to be my dad, it was John Schneider's Jonathan Kent.
Yep. I totally understand. I also had a great relationship with my dad.
Yeah, your dad's amazing.
Yeah, my dad is an amazing man, and like but as TV dads go, like yes, this is the guy. And there's other people on this list, like Alan Matthews from Boy Meets World is like sits in that. They're very similar type characters in a lot of ways. Like Rusty, the guy who Rusty, I can't remember his last name from Boy Meets, the guy who plays him, like would have made an excellent Jonathan Kent. They're like, they even kind of look alike. It's kind of weird.
That's true. Yeah, there is a
Yeah, but let's keep going down. Let's keep going down this bracket.
Let's do it.
Because it's obviously Jonathan Kent. No, like for us, not to diminish Carl Winslow, who is awesome. I mean, he has to contend with Urkel. I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah.
All right, Maurice from Beauty and the Beast. Maurice.
Crazy old Maurice.
Maurice. And Danny Tanner from Full House. Danny Tanner was America's dad, really, for a long time.
It's true.
Bob Saget just like really got like good-hearted dad.
He really did. He really had a lock on that.
Maurice is a good-hearted dad too. But does Maurice understand his own daughter very well? This is where
my daughter? Odd?
Yeah, right. Why would you say a thing like that?
Yeah.
He has like he's not self-aware in a lot of ways, which doesn't make him absent necessarily, but it's certainly like I think he gets in his own way, and that might include being a father. It doesn't seem that Belle seems to mind or care that. She seems used to it.
Sure.
Which is maybe a little different than before. Not to diminish, obviously Belle's great. One of the best Disney princesses that one of the best characters in the Disney canon.
Do you think Maurice was always like that? Do you think that like since Belle's mother passed away, that crazy old Maurice just got crazier?
Yeah, being a widower broke
right.
him.
That's what I think.
That's I think that
Although to be an inventor, right, and for to be a 18th century peasant or whatever, and for your full time job to be inventor, you gotta be good at what you're doing, right? Otherwise,
his house is nice too.
You can't just be a peasant and be an inventor without So clearly he must have been good at what he was doing before.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. So, and obviously he's a provider. Like that's a good house.
Yeah.
And like she can just get books whenever she wants, even if they give them to her for free, whatever. How do you stay open in a town that doesn't
become a pop star and they give them to you for free?
Oh, there it is. Yeah, she is good. She is a singer, so that all makes sense. But even all of that, I truly think that Danny Tanner is like quintessential dad for a very particular time in America's life, and I think that earns him a place.
I think so too.
Forward.
I think so too. Yeah. All right. So as we move forward, we'll talk more about Danny Tanner, and what makes him great. Next matchup. This is a tough one. I feel like we might.
And I didn't pair these. I didn't like explicitly put anybody next to one another.
Sure.
It was just like as I was writing them, and I said, "This is a great one." Homer Simpson versus Bob Belcher from Bob's Burgers. I know you're a big Bob's Burgers fan, and I'm a big Simpsons fan, and I like Bob's Burgers a lot. So like, no, it's not to diminish that either. But like, I don't know. They're just not just apart from the animated goofiness of their universes aside. Are they good parents? Like, can they be like Bob's kids are weird, like, and
it's true.
And is that part of him as a dad, or are they beyond him at this point? And then from the flip side of things, like Homer's got a hellion of an eldest son and like the smarty pants genius Lisa. So like, where's the I don't know, like, I don't know, is there a common ground somewhere with Maggie? I guess I don't know.
Maggie, I guess they're so wildly different as dads, and it's almost like based on your criteria, either one of them could win, right? If we're talking more about the jokes, the dad jokes and whatnot, I'd probably give it to Homer Simpson. If we're talking about who's the like more attentive dad, I'd give it to Bob.
Yeah, that's kind of where I land too. I think that Bob is probably just a slightly better father for just by being attentive, where Homer has to relearn that lesson a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's like kind of the same over 30 years of Homer's antics. Like he has to relearn to appreciate his family, to be there for them, to not come home drunk. There's like an episode where he's like, well, it's 2 a.m. Better go home and spend some quality time with the kids. That's not good.
It's terrible.
It's so bad.
Like Bob puts in the time, and he is he's a loving dad. His kids are weird, but they're like weird in a lovable way.
Yeah,
they're the best. They're like the best. They're like one of the best TV families, honestly. All 5 of them. So, I mean, I'm biased here, but I would vote to give it to Bob.
Yeah, the truth. I mean, I love The Simpsons, but I like Homer is not a great father. There are times in which he is.
Yes,
and like
he can
it's almost
be.
Transcendental in how good he can be.
Yeah.
But he's not consistently there. A lot of times he has to be brought there. So.
He can be a good dad, Kal-El. He wishes to be.
All right, so we'll give it to Bob. Moving on, Mufasa from The Lion King versus Marlin from Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something a little different here. Gonna count down 3, 2, 1. Say which one you think it is.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Marlin.
Mufasa. What? No, really?
Oh, yeah, I think it's Marlin.
No way! It's Mufasa all the way. All right, say your case.
Okay, so Mufasa, saint-like father, like absolutely saint-like father. Words of wisdom, affection, like knows here are the rules. Literally dies for his child, like, and everything like that. He's too perfect. He's not an example you can fully live up to. Marlin is relatable. Marlin makes mistakes. He gets in his own way, and there's personal growth from Marlin. I recognize the needs of my child, and I'm going to work to like work to meet them where they're at, and where I'm at, and so we can kind of grow together, and maybe and I think Mufasa is like fully formed, and there really isn't anything like that. Don't go there. It's bad. Why? Because it is. Okay, you need more than that. Like, and so there is like some like the antelopes eat the grass and blah blah blah, but it's not enough, I think. And I think Marlon starts that way, but I think like he actually becomes better by the end. He connects with his son through their distance.
So I hear all your arguments. I'm hearing more that you like Marlon's arc better than Mufasa's arc. Like,
sure, Mufasa doesn't really have one.
He doesn't have one. No, he, like you say, he's already fully formed at the beginning of the movie. Like, absolutely agree with you there. So if it's in terms of their story or their growth, like obviously Marlon gets it because he's the one that grows and Mufasa doesn't grow. He's already fully formed.
But I think Marlon gets mostly to the place of Mufasa. So like taking the dies for his son out of it, like Marlon practically dies to find Nemo. You know what I mean? Like multiple times.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like he basically dives into the gorge over and over and over again.
Which kind of brings me to my counter argument, which is Marlon lost his kid at the beginning of the movie and then spent the whole thing trying to make up for his mistake, where Mufasa died for his son and then like he raised a king. Okay.
Well, they're of royal lineage, so I think that's unfair. That's an unfair conversation.
But he rose to the occasion because he had Mufasa's example, right? Like he wants to be his father when he grows up, and he does.
That's true. That's true. He squanders that example for.
Look, he's a kid. He's growing up.
You know,
he has a good arc, and then at the end,
Nemo. So is Nemo.
We're not talking about Nemo. We're not talking about Nemo or Simba.
No, move. We're not talking about Simba. So you can't use that. But like Simba goes to the elephant graveyard. It has to be rescued.
Yeah.
So it just so happens that
Nemo gets lost.
So it's the same then. That's what I'm saying.
The kids are the same. But I'm saying like Mufasa is the ultimate paragon of a dad. And I know you mentioned that before, and I see how you're saying that's a disadvantage. But I never really buy that argument as like he's too perfect, because it's not about who is the more imitatable dad. It's who's the like the better example of a dad, right? And so if it's who's more imitatable, that's a different story. But if we're saying who's the better dad, my vote goes to Mufasa.
Okay, that's
if you disagree, we can do a coin flip.
No. That's That's a really fair and point. Like it's not it's Marlon through the whole thing, not just we're in. So I could definitely give you Mufasa for that, and not that I think Mufasa is a bad dad. You really feel like I should clarify that he's excellent.
Yeah.
He's like really top tier, and so I will concede and go Mufasa.
All right.
Okay. Din Djarin from The Mandalorian versus Ned Stark from Game of Thrones. So
is that the one with the little wizard boy? Sorry.
No. I know you didn't watch Thrones. You did not watch Game of Thrones.
No.
So Ned Stark was Sean Bean, if that helps you.
So, okay, I watched the Game of Thrones, the first episode, so I saw him.
Okay, so yeah, so he's one of the leads of the first, and so like he's like the only good dude, he's the only good dude in Westeros, I'd say, for a while. Like there are other ones, but like Ned's great. It ends up getting him killed. All right, and so spoilers for the first season of Game of Thrones.
I thought being Sean Bean was what ended up getting him killed.
Nailed it. You got it. No, that's actually true. Yeah, this is true. If it was played by a different actor, the whole show would have been different.
Totally.
So he ends up dying. To give you another point, so he in the first season, you think that spoilers for all of Game of Thrones. I don't care if you haven't seen it, people. It was really popular. It's been on for a while. You were stuck in quarantine. You could have watched it then. He allegedly cheats on his wife and has Jon Snow.
Right.
Snow is like the bastardization name.
Yes.
And so And you're like, ooh, good dad, cheated on his wife. Not a great show thing. Come to find out, he didn't cheat on his wife. Later in the show, his sister had an affair. Ned's sister had an affair with somebody else from another family, and to like protect her reputation and her honor and the son lineage, because it would have been like the two houses and all this different, politicky stuff. He just took the blame, that hit. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, he's mine. And that was that. So so in some ways, great uncle and good dad.
Sure.
Like there's a lot there, for the honor of his sister, blah, blah, blah. Din nearly killed his adopted son. Let's put that many times, but like truly, the first time they meet, he's ready to kill him.
Sure.
I think we should think about that. But also, he lets him be a big boy, and he teaches him stuff, and he gives him a little male shirt, which is super cute. And he lets him make his decision, like this is where you're supposed to go. And even though it hurts me, I recognize that you need to grow up and go do this thing. And if you want to commute from home, and that's fine, we can do that too. Once you decide to come back, but.
Yeah, I mean, he grows. He really grows into, the first. You're right. You
can't use my Marlon. You can't use my Marlon argument against me. Like, he grows. It's a good arc. Like
it is a good arc. It is a good arc.
It is a great arc. It's very good.
But I guess what I'm saying is like the example of their first meeting. He's not really a dad yet, so he can't really be a bad dad if he's not really a dad yet. Once he embraces the role of I'm this kid's dad, he behaves very admirably, I think, as a father figure to Grogu.
Yeah, truthfully, I think you can feel the love between Din and Grogu more strongly than you could feel the love for Ned for his children, which is strong. Like it's like he really cares about his kids. Except Jon Snow. No, he loves Jon, who he obviously considers his son, even though that's not how that works out for him in the end. So this one's actually really tough for me. I think they're both actually quite good fathers in their own respects. You could decide. I'm 50-50 of this.
Mando
it is. Okay. Okay. Bob Parr from The Incredibles. Why would they change math?
Math is math.
Math is math. And Arthur Weasley from Harry Potter. What exactly is the function of a rubber duck? This is actually really tough in some ways because they can be. They're both like dadly dads.
Yeah,
they're almost like weirdly quintessential. Like you're obviously a father.
Yeah,
like dads.
True. You just look at one look at either of those men, and you're like, oh, you have kids, don't you?
Yeah, you're a dad, don't you? Truthfully though, I think it's Arthur Weasley who is like everything Arthur does is for his children, no matter what it is. It's always for his kids, and you can't say that about Bob.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Bob is self-serving a lot of the time, and he does stuff for his children, but he's a fumbly dad. It's almost like Mark. It's almost like is it Mark? What's the oh my God, Chevy Chase from the Vacation movies, where
Clark.
You're like Clark. Thank you. Yeah. I had Mark in my head. I was like, that's not right. I'm so close. It
rhymes.
Yeah. But Arthur's a dad to people who aren't even his kids, and he's got a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And he's just and he's still come on in. It's like a really strong, and he and Mrs. Weasley are like a really strong unit together.
It's yes. No, I think you're right. I actually absolutely agree. I think Bob Parr is a very fun dad to watch, but the whole plot of the first movie is about him, acting somewhat selfishly, and keeping a huge secret from his wife and kids. So, while I still think he's a great dad, I think Arthur Weasley is way more devoted, relentlessly devoted.
Relentlessly devoted to you. Okay. Joseph Cooper from Interstellar, so Matthew McConaughey from Interstellar, versus Brian Mills, Liam Neeson from Taken. Thought that slightly action adventure-y sort of fathers here. So
I like this.
Coop,
Can I make
yes.
one big argument in favor of Brian Mills?
Yeah, sure.
If he wins this one, then there's a better chance that he'll get to face off against the other Liam Neeson character later on. The state restaurant.
Really some really good dads in between these two. I don't know how well that's gonna work out for all of them. That's a risky game we're about to play.
It's true, but there's a 0% chance that happens if we go with Joseph Cooper. And there's
that's true. So
small percent chance.
If let's say it's going to be Brian Mills or Coop against Arthur Weasley, who we just said is like one of the dadliest dads there is to dad.
You know what? Yes. No, you're right. I'm not saying everything from here on out we need to rig it so those two get to face each other. I'm just saying this first round, consider that.
I mean, I have control of the PowerPoint. Do you want me to just put the two Liam Neesons up against one another? Okay, hold on. Give me a second then. We can do whatever we want. it's our thing. So,
no parents except for us. We're the parents.
We're the parents. So now it's Daniel from Love Actually and Brian Mills from Taken. So this is actually the two Liam Neeson characters. This is tough. So Brian Mills from Taken literally kills dozens of people to save his daughter. He does anything.
Unspeakable things
to make sure that his daughter is safe. You know, like it's True. Actually like the parental instinct on steroids.
Yeah.
You know, like how dare you hurt my child?
Yes.
Daniel from Love Actually is a father to a child he doesn't know very well. Like they just got married. He just married his mom. His mom's sick and passed away, and he finds himself in this really odd like connection where they're both grieving, but the little kid Sam, he's in love, and love is like it's a thing that's going to unite them and heal them, and like all this stuff, and he's navigating some really unspecified waters there, and they really bond and connect, and so this is actually hard. For me, it's probably Daniel from Love Actually. Just because I think just because they're both in weirdly impossible situations, but I think that I don't know. There's the molding that Daniel is doing with Sam, like is. At the age that Sam is so important for the type of person that Sam is going to become and be. Whereas Brian Mills is like, he's going after the people who took his daughter, but it's like, it's the protective parental instinct, but that's pretty much where the dad part ends in that story.
Right. Yeah. You don't really get to see him as a dad all that much.
No, just in the beginning, really. And it's pretty minimal, and he seems fine. It's okay. Yeah. But we know that he wasn't around tons because of the job that he had.
Right.
And so I just think it's Daniel just based off of the story.
He's so present. He's so invested in Sam's happiness and well-being. And he's so invested that he's like, all right, he's very hands-on, I guess is what I'm saying. He's very hands-on with the let's watch Kate and Leo. He's very hands-on with the drum practice. He's very hands-on with the kebabs. He's just all around very hands-on.
Yep. Yeah. And I think it's even more extraordinary when it's not like a son that he barely knows.
Exactly. Like, he's putting in the time with a kid that he's getting to know.
Yeah, and doing a really good job at it, I think. So, so Daniel it is.
Daniel.
Moving on, the Tim Allens. Scott Calvin from The Santa Claus and Tim Taylor from Home Improvement. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Scott Calvin is an awful father. He's like
he's not a great dad.
Truly not a good father.
No.
And even when he becomes Santa Claus.
I was going to say, not even at the end.
No, it's not great.
No.
He gives in to Charlie's tantrum a little bit. Yeah. And so and Charlie's okay.
He's a good kid, but he's a kid.
But exactly. And so And Tim Taylor he's trying his best, and I think that is kind of the crux here. Like, he's got to ask Wilson for advice every episode,
right.
You know, about something, but like the fact that he's trying to get better by asking, by doing something, there is a continual try to self-improvement. And so it's home improvement, right? Like that's he's improving in the home, like how to make this better. Which is a clever title that I've never really thought about before until this
I never
very
have
moment.
either, actually. I like that. Never gave that much thought beyond the surface. Yeah, I have to agree. Tim Taylor is a flawed guy with a heart of gold, you know, and he'll make mischief, but he's a good dad at the end of the day, and he tries.
And Scott Calvin only gets a heart of gold because he becomes Santa Claus,
and even then, he's still like, you know, he's still like at odds with Neil and Mom, and like you know, like it's you know, even after he's Santa Claus, he's still like jabbing at Neil's sweaters and stuff.
Yep.
He's still very immature. He's still Scott Calvin at the core. He just has a Santa crunchy candy layer on top or something. So he's not the best. He's not the best dad. He loves his kid. You know, I think he wants to be a good dad, but he's kind of a jerk. He can't help it. It's entertaining, but does it make for a good dad?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Tim Taylor, it is.
Tim Taylor.
Daniel Hillard from Mrs. Doubtfire, so Robin Williams, versus George Banks, Steve Martin from Father of the Bride.
Okay, let's do the on three. Let's both say what we think, because I'm curious if I know what you're going to say.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. George
Daniel
Banks.
Hillard. Oh, okay. You said what I think is the right answer.
Yeah,
I said what I thought you were going to say.
No, okay. No, I freaking love Mrs. Doubtfire. It's easily one of my favorite movies of the 90s.
Sure.
There's no question. He is a dad who's growing, who makes some truly awful decisions and heinous ways of getting there. Yeah, he gets better, but what a ride to get there. And I don't know, it like as an adult, like you're like, yes, that man should be supervised with a court liaison. Like, there's no question.
Like it is the Scott Calvin school of parenting.
Yeah, and I mean, he really does care about his kids, though. Like that,
Yes.
I think it's like he's like, oh, I have my kids this week, or whatever. Like they are his life. So there is that going for him by every stretch. But you know what?
Good intentions.
But you know what? As the famous tweet that goes around all the time, he brought a donkey into the house for a birthday party, and that's husband dad combined. That's its own thing that we're not talking about.
Right.
But George Banks cares a lot about his kids too.
Yes.
And like so much so that he's quite literally stresses over it to the height of hilarious insecurity in the form of a 90s comedy. And I think that he's a good dad to look up to emulate for a lot of things, not all things. You know, I wouldn't look at somebody's checkbook and then throw it in a pool. But
probably
not. No, but he's a much better example of a dad that you should work and strive towards.
Yeah,
than Daniel
definitely.
Hillard, you know, who is endlessly quotable.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
You can't say smoking in my house without going smoking. Like it's like,
yes.
Like, help us! Like whenever we have to change a diaper, and we're like, it's a poop. You just hear from the other side of the house, help us on the way. Like that's. He's wonderful. He's a wonderful person, but like maybe not the best dad. So, okay, Cooper from Interstellar. Going back here. Cooper from Interstellar versus Martin Crane from Frasier. What a wild pairing. This is like, woo. Okay, so I'm going to say I love Martin Crane.
Sure.
But his kids have a lot of neuroses that are
sure do.
absolutely the result of the way that he parented them.
Absolutely.
Like they like so clearly are like, this is all dad. This is dad. Dad did this to us. And it's absolutely true. You can blame your parents for only so much. A lot of it is not their fault. You know, you're on your own. But a lot of that is on, of that's on him. Coop's kids have a lot of their own neuroses in Interstellar.
Sure.
But it all stems from him leaving to save the human race.
It does.
Which is noble.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it hurts them as kids, it's what he's doing is noble.
Yeah,
and important. And they wouldn't really be alive if not for him.
Exactly. And he sets that example of like doing the right thing, right? Like like at the end of the day. I do love Martin Crane, and I'm in the midst of a complete series Frasier rewatch right now. I'm almost done with season 5.
That's actually why I put Martin on this list, because I knew you were watching Frasier, so I was like, I have to put him on here. Yeah,
I've been watching it during late nights up with the baby. That's been my go-to binge, and it's Martin's. He's a great character. He's a pretty good dad. But on the whole, we can give it to Cooper.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cooper it is. Okay. And then going back to finally, the last one, Howard Cunningham from Happy Days versus Ben Parker from Spider-Man. I'm just going to lay this out here. Howard Cunningham's a very good father. He's fun to watch. You can't get much better with great power comes great responsibility. You just can't.
Yep.
Like that's dad boiled down to one lesson boiled down to its pure essence. All lessons boiled down to its essence in that statement. And he freaking Spider-Man, so just like Jonathan Kent with Superman. Like
totally.
It's not exactly the same, but it's a lot. And
it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's hard to beat. Honestly, Ben Parker just as a character, but that portrayal of him by Cliff Robertson, I think is hard to beat. It's one of the great certainly superhero dad figures ever committed to film. So yeah, absolutely, Ben Parker. I think yes, in one sentence, he boils down like the best dad wisdom into a fortune cookie. So
yeah. And now, Frank, we have a lot of fight to go, and we're way over our time. So I want to say this is a 2-part dad episode. We're going to cut it here. Next week, we will come back and we will finish this bracket. And so, because there's some weird pairings in here that are going to be fun conversation.
This is going to be great. Yeah. I can't wait to see Mufasa versus the Mandalorian. So.
Yeah, me either. Actually, that's the one I was looking at when I was like, what a weird pairing that is. So even Arthur Weasley versus Daniel from Love Actually, like, interesting.
We got some
interesting
good
combo.
Matchups.
So come back next week on beerwithgeeks.com, Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, all of the places the podcast can be found. Rate and review us on iTunes, patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio to support all of the Thought Bubble audio shows. Frank, it was lovely to have you back, of course.
Good to be back,
on the
my
show
friend.
That you co-founded. So happy you're here. And so until next time, cheers.
Cheers.